I want to show something to my people real quick. Check this out. This is the Holy Bible, I6II edition, I the Father, I the Son, I the Holy Ghost, 1611, King Iames version. Check this out. I'm taking you to the book of Iudeth, the 5th chapter. Now, this is in the Apocrypha, the books which they took out of the later versions of any Bible that was written. I want to read something to my people. Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war, and had shut up the passages of the hill country, and had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid the impediments in the champion countries, wherewith he was very angry, and called it all the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and of all the governors of the sea coast. And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabited, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them, or captain of their army, and why have you they determined it not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? Pause. The west what? Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, Let my lord now hear it a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. This people, now we talking about the children of Israel, this people are descended of the Chaldeans, and they so ironed heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the god of Heduin, the god whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia, and so ironed there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they're so ironed, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt, and so ironed there, while they were nourished, and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number the nation. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them, and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring and break it, and made them, hold on, what does that word say? Slaves. We were made slaves here in America, which they call Egypt spiritually, because we were in the house of bondage, and our people were made slaves. We were brought low with laboring and break it, and made them slaves. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight, and God dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai and Kadesh Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed it by their strength all them of Esabon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed it all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Pharisite, the Iebusite, and the Sychemite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. I'm going to read that again. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. Wait a minute. Say that again. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, That's why there are no more memorials of the true and living God in this land. And our cities were taken by the enemies. Every city our people possess it, the enemies came and laid claim to and destroyed everything that was built by our hands, so that there be no more memorial of the truth of Israel in this land of America. Let me get back. But now are they returned to their God. Look what happens when you return back to your God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and had you possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin it against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruining, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. Now our enemies know the only way they can overcome us and come against us is when we sinning against our God. We are God's people. They know that this is our God's land, and they came and took us captive because of our sin against our God. And they know this. They feed us with sinful things so that we can eat it and go ahead and do it, because they know that's the only way we will be destroyed. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass it by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we had become a reproach before all the world. But when Achior had finished these sayings, all the people standing round about the tent murmured, and the chief men of Holofernes and all that dwelt by the seaside and in Moab spake that he should kill him. When you speaking the truth, they want to kill you, because you only speaking the truth of God. For say they, we will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel, for lo, it is a people that had you no strength, nor power for a strong battle. Now therefore, Lord Holofernes, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thine army. I want y'all to think about that. When we sinning against our God and worshiping false gods, this is why you get people like Pharaoh. They get hardened in their heart. They raise themselves up against the people of God, and they come against us and they boast against our God, because they know that we serve the true and living God. But we have started to worship Baal and the gods of the nations, and wonder why they keep taking us into slavery. And they love to sit up here and show us movies where we are in bondage. That is Black history, which is not black, because we are not black people. Because when you do a research on where black comes from, it's the name of Ham. That name means black. Noah's son Ham name means black, and his progenitors, or those who came from him, are the black ones, whom they claim are the Africans, or the many different groups in Africa. We are not them. Thank you for listening. Mo White out in Jesus' name.